Hello, everybody. Thank you for the introduction. I'm Eugene Kislyi. I'm a co-founder of Wargaming, which we did in mid-90s with my brother Victor, our father, and a couple of university friends. It has been a fun ride. A little bit of a background on myself. By day at the company, I'm a chief data officer, taking care of all things data-related. Storage, collection, analytics, provisioning, all of that. And by night, I'm an industrial mogul of EVE Online, controlling markets of structures and citadels. And no, Hilmar did not ask me to mention that. I just love the game and play it all the time. So, some of the things I'm going to talk about are less known, unknown, some of them. Probably not very well publicized, but it's good for the context of this conference and gathering, because in hindsight, every successful company is capable of justifying the success, why they knew to do that exact thing and how it was the awesome thing and the bestest thing they did. That's it. But that's in the hindsight. When you're in the beginning, it's a little bit of a different story, and not many companies mention the failures and things. So today I'd like to tell you a little bit of things that Wargaming is not exactly proud of, or things we did we probably wish we didn't, or did it differently. So the first thing is Iron Age. This is the first game we made in '94. It was released in '95. It was a beautiful game, well done. It's a board game filling on a PC, played by email and then through a server at a couple later versions. It was Risk meeting Civilization. It was beautiful. It was sprinkled with a number of interesting game mechanics. Awesome game. It was played by a total of 5 people, including Victor and myself. So we're the 2 of the 5. Not per territory, just 5 people. That was the game. So for most intents and purposes, this was a miserable failure of a game. Oh, and by the way, at a later point, I'll come back to some of these things to kind of show you the bright side of things, so don't get too pessimistic at the moment. So that was the first project we did. The next one is going to be unusual, and unfortunately, the picture is very pixelated because it's over 20 years old, but that's the only one we have. It's allcremation.com. It's a network of crematoriums in the United States. We built that project. We built the backend for that project. We did the web design for it. We launched it. We did QA testing. We did predictive modeling of when a potential client might become the actual client. Our QA engineers enjoyed the testing because, you know, what if some client decides to save on the transportation and dies at the stairs? So you divide by 0, it's an error, and things like that. So for a gaming company, you know, not something probably you've ever heard before, working on that thing, but because we all had background in software development, and it turned out that the first game we did not exactly bring too much money, we had to do something to survive. That's what we did. Then the next project. Again, through very accidental sequence of events, we kind of ended up creating online advertising management software. It was unfortunate or accidental start when we ended up with a lot of code, which we then repackaged, which we then built into software and then a service, and then through multiple iterations, it ended up being a part of Yahoo advertising platform. And if you have ever been online ever in the past decade, I'm that sure our software has tagged you, has bagged you, has logged you, profiled you, behavioral targeted the living shit out of you, and delivered advertising to you. I'm not proud, but that's what we did. And again, gaming company, advertising management software, you know, that happened. So now we're approaching slightly more modern history, and I want to show you a very interesting project of Wargaming, probably in our context of being the World War II vehicular, you know, real Man, game sounds funny, but that's an RPG. You know, you have the elves, you have the orcs, you have the magic, you have everything. Do you know when we released it? We didn't. But Wargaming spent 9 months building an MMORPG with an intention to go and conquer the World of Warcrafts of the world. 9 months of the whole company's time and resources was spent on that. Never saw the light of the day, almost, but that's a different story. So, again, not the proudest moment probably for a gaming company. And then we come even to more modern history, mobile. About 3 years ago, one of the fearless executives of Wargaming, he's actually still with the company, he runs a sizable, noticeable, revenue-generating unit, and we're happy he's still with us. He was holding his phone, unfortunately I don't have one, in his hand, and the quote was, "Who in his right mind is going to pay money to play on this tiny little screen of this fragile device?" Which kind of destined us for a little while to not touch mobile. And again, in the modern world of what we're doing and where we're living, it was probably not the best statement or direction to take. And then the last thing I want to mention, several years ago, a group of entrepreneurs came to us with an interesting idea, seeking some partnership, some advice, some investment. And in our wisdom, we decided that it's not worth the investment because it's improbable that people are going to use it. It's a little bit too bad of a service. The technology is not there. Infrastructure is not ready. And we happily passed on the opportunity. And you might have heard of this company. Yeah, and as we know for a fact from the public sources, the end game of this company, the cost of the opportunity to us is quantifiable. 5 players of the first game and over 10,000% of ROI. We, with a very clear conscience, passed on thinking that is worthless. So that's kind of the hopefully end of the pessimistic part. And now let me come back and go through the projects to try to show you that there is actually happiness in the world and there is a bright side to things. So, Iron Age, 5 players. Victor and myself, 2 of them. But one of the other 3 guys was the person who became, at a later point, the chief tank expert for World of Tanks, and who actually brought on board 2 executive producers who actually invented the game, designed the game, and shipped the game. So, failure of a project, but from the talent acquisition, brilliant event that helped us a lot. Allchromation.com, Chromation. So, not the most positive topic, but it helped us to realize that gaming is a difficult business and we still have to earn money, and that's when we broke even. So that project allowed us to be cash positive and to spend money on the passion, on the hobby we had, gaming. Adrevolver, advertising management. 2 things. First of all, we got a gigantic, enormous experience that was very helpful moving forward in all of our projects. We got experience in multi-data center deployments, gigantic databases, big data management, and by big I mean petabyte scale, not big Excel, and stuff like that. Highly transactional, uptime, 5 nines, you name it, we did it. So the experience we gained through working on these systems and deploying them and delivering them was immensely helpful when we got to the World of Tanks scale and do things. That was one. And second, war chest. If you want to do something big, you need a war chest. You need money, you need resources. Some people go to VCs. That's okay. For us, that was the war chest. So the success of this particular project and the proceeds it brought to the company allowed us to build World of Tanks. So that was our war chest. The never seen light of the day RPG. In the process of it, we gained immense experience in building an MMO. So we tested all the concepts. We found a great platform, big world, which we were able to reuse very successful and very rapidly in World of Tanks. Actually, for big world guys, it ended very nicely because we ended up acquiring them once we realized what a platform and what an asset they had. So it's a technology experience, learnings that we would not have had otherwise. Mobile. Having learned a little bit from our mistakes and having realized what a market it is, right now Wargaming has 5 separate dedicated mobile initiatives running after every single possible flavor of mobile, and actually AR and VR too, but we're not talking about that. So that's how that helped. And then last but not least, the Twitch example. Having learned a little bit from that decision-making when you involve janitors and drivers is probably not a good idea. So we are in the final stages of implementing Wargaming Ventures, an investment arm, where we have a highly skilled, highly trained team of professionals, small but highly skilled, who are going out there and searching for good, solid teams, projects, games, opportunities, people to bring on board, invest, and make sure we don't miss on that opportunity we did with a tiny little thing called Twitch. And then the biggest failures of all, World of Tanks. You know why it's a failure? Because we are a development company. We develop the game, which we then tried to find a publisher for. And we went on a road trip to every single big, medium, and even a couple of small publishers for them to publish it. And you know what? They failed at taking that opportunity. Every single one of them rejected us. And we were forced to go on our own, start our operating and publishing arm, and be where we are right now. And for that, we're extremely thankful to them for failing on tackling that opportunity. And to sum it up, failure for the sake of failure is stupid. You have to always try for success. But if you fail, take the learnings. And rest assured that unless you're being really stupid, it will help you sooner than later. And then you will get to the successful part where you make it big. And the only way to not fail is to stop. So don't stop. Thank you.